Here we are with another Friday Night Live Zoom, August 27th, 2021. And all right, I think we're on. Hopefully everybody's doing amazing. We are with some family here, so I'm gonna cut a little bit short tonight. Let's see if anybody's on the page. We are in very, very interesting times. That is certain. And the illusion of the illusions has never been greater. We must stay strong in our faith, trusting in our divine creator, our soul, because all kinds of attacks will come from all different directions. As the master of deception is hi Paula, volume's too low. Let me see here.
Yeah, how about now, Paula? Can you hear me? Testing, testing.
Sorry, it keeps going down. I don't know why it keeps going down. Too loud. How about now? Maybe now it'll be better. This is my laptop, so it doesn't have the greatest microphone. Hopefully now it's good. Okay. Hopefully it stays on that setting. I don't know why it keeps moving. Anyway, this is it is what it is. We have to really stay focused these days. It's these tyrannical tyrants are really trying to create a grand illusion. And that illusion is only a fiction in our minds. So we must turn our focus away and put our focus on the change we want to be and the change we want to see. Because nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. The fasting lifestyle. Fasting lifestyle. We see so many people that have jumped in and disappeared, and then they start coming back. I had a surprise today from somebody who hasn't been around in a while. And just the way it is, when we're ready, we will make the changes, not before. So what do we have here? We have Get a strange lighting happening in here, but anyway, it is what it is. Looks like some rainbow rays. The rays of the divine are shining upon us. No. Paula, how you doing? Everything okay? Staying focused? Barbara,
Hi,
looking good,
Barbara.
Gino and Rana.
Thank you, darling.
Lots of kisses. Now more than ever, we must come together and stay strong. It's just crazy what's happening. The Prime Minister of Canada called an election 2 years early. And I heard today he wants to change that only people that got the jab will be able to vote. It's absolutely just ludicrous. That would be fine. Because they have no power over our soul. Let them play in their, let them act in their theaters. Michelle Lee Foster, what are you all drinking? Just some grape juice wine, right?
Grape juice.
Grape juice. Wonderful, wonderful grape juice. Never get tired of it. Always tastes freaking amazing, grape juice. So does wine. I love wine as well. I just can't have too much of that because of
Dehydrates. Wine
the
dehydrates.
alcohol. You know, if you have a glass here and there, it's fine. It is from grape juice, from grapes, you know. And, you know, as
Herbal wine.
many years ago, yeah, we have the herbal wine, which is amazing. You know, you just have nice shots of it. But research I did many years ago from all the alcoholics, the longest living ones were the winos, the ones who drank just wine. Pretty interesting. So there's definitely something in the grapes that helps us purge. And
Especially the dark ones.
you know, if you're going through all Italy or, you know, Portugal and many places that make their own wine, see a lot of these older guys have been making their own wines for many years, and they're going up in their 80s, 90s, 100 years old and still drinking their wine. You know, it's and you know, of course, anyone who lives up into their 90s and 100s, they're not big eaters.
Also, you know, good eating habits. Yeah. So smaller meals, but also better food, better quality, right? Usually.
Yeah, they all grow their own gardens. Paula, on my eating days, I eat fermented vegetables, kimchi and sauerkraut. They say it's good for microbiome. Do you have any thoughts you would share? Hello, Christina.
Hi,
Did
Christina.
I tell you how much I love you? Oh, wow.
We love you more.
Awesome. Paula, people, there's a lot of things and people say a lot of things and there's a lot of sciences and, you know, the one thing that we know certain more now than ever is science is gatekeeping. So if we look at science as gatekeeping, then we must come to the conclusion that we can't listen to science with any seriousness because it keeps changing. So gatekeeping means it keeps us away from the true knowledge, right? They're gatekeeping the knowledge. They're locking it up so we can't have access to it. And there's a gazillion different diets out there. If we look back in history and we look at all the different continents and so on and so forth, we see diets varied a lot. Even, when you go back thousands of years from any archaeological findings and so on and so forth. But at the same token, the fermented vegetables, nothing wrong with them. We eat them, but it's not something I would eat regularly. A lot of people get a lot of gas because they are fermented.
But
It's-
yeah,
it's not about the food. It's never about the food.
but also in terms of food, talking about food, we go with the least obstructive. And what is the least obstructive?
Fruit is always least obstructive in our book.
Yeah, so it's more less
And-
less obstructive than fermented vegetables, right?
If we go to the fatty fruits, absolutely not, like an avocado.
Yeah, but it's less, fruits are less obstructive than fermented vegetables.
I don't know about the avocado. That's
Leaving the fatty
the
fruits,
fat.
but
Yeah. So
other fruits.
we're always focusing on the elimination, the art of subtraction. As we say, in order for us to live it and love it, we must enjoy what we're doing, and we must find our balance in when we're eating and fasting, and we must find our balance. So if eating a little bit of fermented vegetables does it for you, enjoy it. Don't worry about it. As
Yeah,
long
but
as
as the boss,
the staple of the diet is fruit.
Yeah.
When you're eating and when you choose to eat.
Yeah, there's something about fruits that, that is unique for sure when it comes to eating. They are the easiest on the body. There is, without a question, definitely the easiest after a fast. You feel pretty much, like almost the same as when you're fasting, almost. Especially when the foods are juicier and easier to digest, less obstructive. And then you add the vegetables, and then you feel heavier. Fermented vegetables usually have salt, and salts are definitely less optimal than the fruits and vegetables. Adding the salt, then you're gonna feel dehydrated.
Do you make your own fermented vegetables, Paula?
Usually, like most of the time, includes salt. Sometimes I use apple cider vinegar to ferment without salt, and that works. It's nice. However, still, I ferment fruit vegetables like turnips and beets this way. But definitely the fruits are easier than fermented turnips and beets.
I just bought some absolutely delicious organic stone fruit.
Oh,
The
yeah,
peach
yeah.
I ate today was so juicy and
Oh,
delicious.
yeah.
It's a
Stone fruits are
rare
amazing.
thing to find it absolutely beautiful.
You had some good nectarines.
Right, peach.
You had some good nectarines.
I haven't had a good peach in a long time. Yeah, nectarine. We had some good
I think
nectarines
nectarines
not
are
too long
easier
ago.
to find.
Not really.
Like to find like what do you mean? You had them.
Similar to a peach. Depends who's growing
So
them.
far I have eaten better nectarines this summer than peaches.
I remember growing up, we had a peach tree in our backyard, and my goodness, beautiful, massive peaches, and juicy and flavorful and aroma. I can still remember that
In the backyard?
sensation biting into that. But fruit tree, I mean,
In
peach
your house?
trees, peach trees don't do very well anymore in the cities. They die very easily. It's very difficult to keep peach trees going. The environment's absolutely changed since many years ago,
You have
many
to take care
decades
of
ago.
it. It's more sensitive. You want to take care of it.
Column is too low. I don't make my own fermented vegetables yet.
Something happened to the sound. Volume. I changed the volume too. Volume.
Again.
Hmm.
When we raise our voice, it goes down, so I'll have to
That's so
keep it
weird.
kind of steady.
Can you lock it? Increase it first a little bit.
Let me go into the settings here. One sec. Let's see if I can put it on. Um, hmm,
Is this for Zoom?
I don't see a setting in here.
Yeah, this is on Zoom, right? I find it confused.
We'll keep our eye on it. I don't know. I don't know why it's
Mm.
doing that. Input microphone. Doesn't have an option. Anyway, I'll just keep my eye on it.
Yeah, so Barbara.
Rubber Dr. Zach Bush talks about the most of us isn't us, but the microbiomes, the bacteria that is not us. Yeah, I think people like to listen to anybody that has letters in front of their name or behind their name. Dr. Zach Bush is a wonderful soul, and he is, what's the word I'm looking for? He is much more awake than many other ones I've listened to. So, yeah. An eating lifestyle is always going to what? Fill us up with obstructions. An empty plasma vacuum tube allows the physicality, the body, to work on the fields instead of matter. If we're going to rely on eating, on matter, we will have to continuously eat food, matter, to sustain ourselves. Because when you start eating, actually, it starts in the mother's womb. If the mother's eating, the GI tract of the fetus inside the womb starts building a mucus layer because of the mother's food consumption. So there's already a protection being built in the GI tract, the plasma vacuum tube. So when the baby comes out, starts breastfeeding, then it starts eating food, it already has that form of mucus layer built in to protect itself from eating matter food. So when you start fasting, that can completely get stripped. When you master fast specifically, you strip that mucus layer that was built, especially when you go on the longer ones and when you live it as a lifestyle. And you're eating clean, minimal, least obstructive foods, which are fruit. If you're always eating obstructive foods, you're always going to have a mucus layer. And we've talked about this before. The dangers of doing the long fast are that you strip out that mucus protection layer, and then there's no defense. And when people eat obstructive foods, they get themselves in real trouble, right? And that's a big challenge. So that's why when you're ever decide to do a long fast, which we don't suggest, we suggest living, loving it, using the one of the master fast levels. So that way there, you condition your emotion to learn how to fast and break the fast over and over and over, because that's the key. The emotion is where everybody has challenges with, right? So, this microbiome stuff, environments dictate outcome. If you can have a balance with the microbiome, if you want to call it, in your eating lifestyle, of course you're going to do better than somebody who doesn't have a balance with their microbiome, right? There's all kinds of theories and so on and so forth on what adds to that. I don't buy into any of them anymore. I buy into, let's clear out the plasma vacuum tube and let's allow the fields to make everything the body needs. So I'm on a whole different page in the realm of MFS. We're on a whole different page than trying to figure out which things in our diets matter are going to help us. The only things that we use in Master Fast are what? Things that help us open up blocked energy and purge. Herbs, plasma pudding, the juice, washing, with enemas, breath work. These are all things that we use that make us move stagnant energy and purge it out of the physical, mental, and emotional body. So if you want to play around with trying to balance out a diet, we're not a good source of information because I went down those routes for many, many years, and I only found myself spiraling out to more and more confusion.
Yeah, there is no such thing as it's impossible for humans to establish the ideal environment, create an environment through science, the way I see it is that the microbiome is they die in obstructions, so the waste kills them, and as you clear the obstructions, you are providing a much happier and healthier environment for them. And we are surrounded by them. I mean, we're like, they're in us, they're around us, they're everywhere, right? So it's inevitable. So I feel like it's better to avoid, planning so much about, improving the micro environment inside us, and so instead just focus on releasing the obstructions, which are, they are in the way of healing, and also of course, first of all, of creating a healthy environment for everything, for the microbe and us as well.
Dr. Zach Bush sells a soil-based liquid that's supposed to help with the microbiome. Very expensive. I don't know how many. I bought a few bottles. I wanted to try it on my mother. I did try it on my mother. Went through, I don't know, a few bottles, four or five bottles, and then they banned it in Canada temporarily. The government stopped them from selling it here. I didn't see it. I see absolutely no difference in my mother's condition, because when somebody's not wanting to live a fasting lifestyle, we do what we can. We try and help, and you go down the route of minerals, vitamins, and microbiome theories, right? That's what people do. Yeah, it's just addition. We don't focus on addition, but like I said, if somebody's not willing to fast, okay, well, go down the route where everybody else is going and see what you can do. And when you go down those routes, you will see some people will get some benefits and some people won't. And the reason is environments dictate outcome. When you introduce something into the body has to work with whatever you introduce to it. And sometimes you will see a positive effect from it. And not always. But
from research, to be honest, it's really hard to make.
Yeah, it's all theory.
It's very hard to make conclusions from one woman and
But
trying that. You have to do it properly.
What I know without doubt is when you subtract and fast, everybody benefits. Every single soul benefits. There isn't anybody I've seen that fasts and doesn't get benefit. The only ones that don't get benefits are the ones who don't do it, or they do something crazy because they're in such a heavy obstructive state, and they drown in their own filth, and then they start blaming fasting because they just don't have a clue and don't want to do their homework and do the research and so on and so forth. Sorry, guys. It keeps going down. It's when I raise my voice, it goes down. Should be better now. So yeah, what we suggest is focus on the art of subtraction. Subtraction is the key to allowing the plasma vacuum to function the ways of the wizard, the way of the divine light. Field interaction. When you have matter in the way, you have a different field happening, and depending on what matter is in the way. So when you clear that all out, it's fields on fields, and that's where you see the magic happening in fasting. So that's what we focus on. If you want to focus on diets, okay, well, that's where you're at. And,
I want to add that it's about balance. So please avoid extremism. Subtraction, yes. However, you want to live your life. You want to enjoy your family. You want to enjoy your friends. Just do what works for you. We are providing a beautiful lifestyle of fasting. And when you're eating, we suggest eating the least obstructive food. It's that simple. From 31 years so far of experience, but also thousands of people's experiences put together to make the protocol. So yeah, so it's thanks to everybody here for helping us improve the protocol, because without you we wouldn't have the thousands of people's experiences. Gino, of course, has this 31-year experience, but that's one man. When you have everybody putting in their sharing their experiences, that helps everybody, and we can all relate. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's about balance. It's very important to keep reminding ourselves about that because fasting feels amazing. However, I feel, like it's you want to be sustained, you want to live it and love it. Fasting, like enjoy, enjoy the fruits, enjoy the vegetables. Food is very, very important part of our lives. It is, it is, and love it and enjoy it. Really, there's absolutely, it's just beautiful. Enjoy it. Um, and do your best to stay balanced. Sometimes we may go crazy eating stuff that we haven't eaten in years, especially after fasting, after doing especially a long fast. And that's hard. That's hard. You want to avoid that. That means you're off balance. So you go back to balance. And that's what you want to work on. That's why you're in this lifestyle, to work on achieving the balance. Yeah, it's all about balance. So find it, find your peace in your home, with yourself, with your family, with your friends and members on the Facebook and stuff like that, right? On the group. Really, it's about finding balance. There are so many conflicts today, everywhere, starting in our own homes. Confusion within the self, and then outside the self, with your partner or with your siblings or parents or whatever. We come on, let's make peace. I mean, look at the world today. It's a reflection of what's happening in our homes, in our hearts, confusion, and then in our homes, the separation, the conflicts. I mean, come on, how is this peace? How is this balance? Let's find peace, balance, and correct conduct, and do our best to stay on track.
Paula,
Consistent.
I am on level 3 and just trying to figure out what to wisely eat on my eating days.
Amazing.
Fruit and vegetables. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
And thinking about what to have on hand if there is nowhere to purchase any food. Absolutely. That would be wise to stock up on fermented vegetables and canned fruit and so on and so
Whatever.
on. Absolutely,
Yeah,
Paula.
yeah.
Yes. We love eating, but we love fasting way more.
Yeah, and I would stock up, I mean, you're doing level 3, which is 3 days of master fast. You may have to do level 7 at some point if there's shortage in food, So make sure you're stocking up on that stuff, okay? Because we may have to do that. We may have to, unfortunately. We just, go with whatever God brings us, Do your best.
Christina, today is my day number 5 fasting. I feel strong hunger. Wow, stirring
Yeah,
up
it
stuff.
happens, yeah.
This happened the same when I fasted first time before my menstruation. Yeah, let those thoughts go. This is quite challenging, and it always has been experiencing this hunger prior to menstruation. I feel that I will break
Absolutely.
my fast tomorrow and will try to eat for a couple of days and see how it goes. I am in a bit of a complicated relationship between my mind and body. Aren't we all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just let the mind go, the monkey mind, that whatever's coming to you. When you get these hunger pangs, it's not hunger. It's just obstructions coming to the surface and triggering those sensations. Breath work. To try essential oils, grapefruit essential oil, or just get a grapefruit and scratch the skin and smell that. That helps people with hunger pangs. Keep busy doing what you love. Go out in nature. Get your mind off of the food.
Colon washing is huge.
Yeah, the enemas number always. The breath work and enemas number 1. The thing about if you're hanging around the house and you're focusing on this hunger, guess what? You're going to get more and more of this hunger coming to the surface.
It's
Especially,
Christina, you're at the beginning. Totally normal. Give it 3 weeks, you feel more confident, and the cravings will be way less because your colon will be much clearer.
Yeah, when you're fasting, It's usually the 1 to 2 weeks is the hardest for most people.
Or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
You
whatever.
can follow,
1 to 2
yeah.
at least. That would be for the majority of people. That's the hardest time. As we wash out the
Yeah.
colon,
That
all the obstructions coming out, then all these sensations start going away, and it gets easier and easier and easier. But then it goes in phases because you
But-
start going in layers. You start
Mhm.
peeling the layers of onion, which is in the GI tract.
But
And
the hardest, yeah.
you break through different surfaces of different layers and different emotions.
Yeah, but
So-
the hardest usually is the first day. You can ask all master fasters who are living the lifestyle. They'll tell you, yeah, the first day is the hardest after eating because you have obstructions in you. And as you go, like after a day of drinking, and then you go dry, then when you do the dry, you're like, okay, there's absolutely no cravings. If anything, I'm thirsty. I just want to flush, you know. If anything, you're thirsty. So it's really amazing. It gets easier and easier. Just stay on track. Keep going. Yeah, the cravings are interesting. And yes, before the menstruation. Before the menstruation, okay, your bowels are usually obstructed before the menstruation. Ideally, you would menstruate around the full moon, okay, which passed right now, right? Just passed. Ideally, so maybe you missed it this month, or you're missing it, which is okay. It's normal when you're fasting and eating, you know, changing your diet quite a bit. You've been changing it for a month, I think. So it's normal for you to experience changes in your menstruation. But yeah, so basically around the full moon, we get more cravings because we get more obstructions. So more obstructions in the bowels, we get more cravings, and then so on. And as the full moon goes away, it becomes easier. Now, menstruation, the bleeding, ideally we would bleed around the full moon, which was just passed. And you said your period was supposed to be like a few days ago, and it didn't happen.
Ideally, there's no menstruation.
Yeah, but when you have bleeding, it would be around the full moon. And yes, you will have cravings because again, the bowels are obstructed. And that's when you get all the menstruation symptoms, right? The inflammation, the bowels, lower back, and stuff like that. You feel the pain. So yeah.
Human is a holographic cell of the universe. When confusion is within, then it reflects outwards in the world. This is where we are as humanity. Absolutely, you know, the physicality is based on the principles of how the universe functions, and so is everything else. This is the way the divine created everything. It's all based on that principle of how the universe functions. And now that, you know, humanity's gone wacko, moving away from the principles of the universe and nature. We're at a state where humans are the sickest they've ever been, and they're, you know, trying to convince people they're sick even though they're not sick. It's just a crazy time. Paula, any thoughts you would share about dried fruits, mainly future, not now? Yeah, sure. Stock up on dried fruits. That would be good. We just eating dried fruits is they're concentrated. Remember, it's a bit tough on the body. Dates for me are the easiest dried fruit to process. But yeah, stock up on dried fruits. You may want to soak them. That helps people. We would, you know, for difficult times, we do what we have to do. And you know, if we come in a situation where food supply is not available, it would be wise, you know, to have you know, lots of juice available and so on and so forth, and a clean GI tract so you can go many days without anything over and over again. You know, if you just had to eat once every week or every 2 weeks, your food supply would last you a lot longer, right? If you have to eat 3 meals a day, you better have a big storage area. So, fasting is the key for many, many things. Christina, I had colonics yesterday. I almost flipped from the table what came out.
Is it your first time?
Yes, Ren, I've had all those premenstrual symptoms since the age of 13 when I had my period. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It
Mm-hmm.
the when we start fasting, we're always very, very curious of what is coming out, because I was, but then after a while, after you see so much crap coming out in all forms and shapes and stuff, after a while, you just, whatever. You've seen it all.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was amazed until now. When I see interesting stuff, I'm like, whoa. And when I do colonics, because I started doing colonics again, I can stop it and I can take photos and I can stare at it. There's light. It's really interesting. It always amazes me. But when you keep doing it, and then it becomes like, okay, the interesting things come when usually when we're eating. The more
Yeah.
obstructive the food, the more interesting stuff will come. But also, when you go deep in the fast, you'll have also thick mucus and bile and maybe some parasites.
Paula, dates are delicious. Oh yeah, dates are one of my favorite. I have lots of grape juice in the dates. Are awesome. Yeah, dates are just a wonderful, beautiful food. Um, just think about where they grow in the desert, and people would come to the conclusion that the juicy fruits are the most hydrating and all that. And I came out and said, absolutely not. The date is one of the most hydrating fruits, and that just spins people's head when we say stuff like that, because they just don't have an understanding of what nature and the divine has created. Why would they put something in the desert if it's going to not
Hydrate
it's going to dehydrate you?
people in the desert,
Come on.
Yeah, but you know what? For me, I love dates. I grew up in Saudi Arabia, where like there are over 100 types of dates. Absolutely delicious. I love them. I can eat them every day. But I focus now on eating local, so local foods. And dates, grow in the Middle East. They don't grow here in Canada, and so I don't buy them
When they get
anymore.
delivered, they're local.
Mm. Mhm.
When they get delivered, they're local.
There are some good places here where you can buy Saudi dates. But yeah, so I wouldn't buy them anymore. I stopped buying them. I used to buy a lot. Now I focus on eating what grows in Canada all year long. All year long. If it's only apples, I'm gonna be eating the apples. But now we have lots of fruits now. Now we have all the stone fruits and watermelons.
Grape season.
And eating,
in the
let's
northern
say,
hemisphere.
4 days a week, that's plenty of fruits, it's plenty of
Concord
fruits.
grapes are out. Christina, now, no, not the first time I get now colonics regularly when you
Imagine.
explain how it works. I love it. Yeah, washing.
Mhm.
Get out the obstructions that the fast is loosening up. That's what we're
So, Christina, you're doing colonics and animals at home? There's also Colima, which is amazing as well. Yeah. Yeah, but it's amazing what comes out. It really is. Just, I love it. I love it. And just eating a few days a week, you still have a lot come out, quite a bit. It comes out for 2 days. When you fast again, when you fast and clear, it comes out for 2 days. It takes 2 colonics for me to clear 1 day of eating a week. It's really amazing. Yeah. You know, when you get to on the lifestyle, so Christina, make sure to choose a level, you know, a lifestyle, because that's what it is. When you live the lifestyle, I would say after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, that's when you get like, oh yeah, this is absolutely amazing. I feel so light. I feel so, you know, full of energy because you got used to it. You know, at the beginning you're detoxing a lot, but then after that, it's just your lifestyle. And it feels absolutely amazing. The energy. So the key is balance and to keep going. Keep going. It's nice to see some people, you know, consistently doing one of the levels for a year, you know. Then the results are beautiful because they have both fasting and clean eating. Eating the least obstructive. You know, when you have fasting regularly on your lifestyle, you will choose without even thinking about it the least obstructive food when you eat. When you eat, you'll choose the least obstructive food without even thinking about it, which makes it so much easier to live the lifestyle. You're not forcing your body, you're not depriving yourself from any food. Your body automatically just wants you to eat the lightest food because it loves feeling light. And when you eat heavier, you feel it, body doesn't like it, gives you feedback. That's the beauty of the levels, that you consistently get feedback. Okay, you don't feel great this week, next week you feel better, you know. Never give up. Colonics with a therapist, enema at home, enemas at home. Colima is on my wish list to acquire. Yes, absolutely beautiful. I will begin with level 3, maybe 4. We'll see which one will work best. Yeah, take your time. How many days of fasting takes to clear 1 day of eating? 2 days of fasting and washing your colon, eating colonics. Could you repeat? Yeah. For me, it takes 2 days to clear the food of 1 day a week of eating, even after 3 months.
Doesn't clear all the residue.
Even after 3 months, but most of the food pieces, you know, you see the food. You see, it's very different when you wash your colon eating versus fasting. So I know it's food when I wash, yeah. Very different.
That's why it would be ideal to have more fasting days each week than eating days. So you're on a de-obstructive level.
And
instead of
also the food
obstructive.
is very important. You go for oils and you go for, like, let's say junk food. Oh, your body's not gonna like it. Oh, your body's not gonna like it, and it will want you to eat it. You'll have the cravings. Sometimes they're gonna be bad.
Just focus on enjoying and loving and finding your balance. And that's as we go along, things will change. It's never going to stay the same. Never going to be stagnant. You know, slowly increase your levels if it feels right, and if it's a bit too much, back off a bit for a while until the emotion gets used to it, and then start increasing the levels again. But that's the way it's going to be. You're going to be, you know, changing things up and finding that balance. And then, you know, sometimes you're going to fall off, as we say, just but stay focused on a fasting lifestyle. Don't let that go. You know, if we're forced in a situation with no food, you know, and you've been fasting for a while, your emotion is mentally much more going to be much more stable, much more prepared than somebody who's never fasted and they don't have food anymore. Just imagine the chaos.
I mean, yeah, not to scare anyone, but just fasting prepares you in every way. So just do it. You know, fasting and, you know, when you eat that is obstructive. Hey, if God puts us in a situation where we have less food and we have more juice, then we have to do more fasting.
First and foremost, a spiritual
Easier
journey.
to stock on juice for sure. Yeah, easier to stock on juice for sure than food. and herbs and dozen pudding. Yeah, and water probably. You want to stock up on water. So God knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so, don't, let's not put any real thought into it. Just prepare yourselves and live the lifestyle and be happy. The light has already won. But we're gonna go through some bumps and some darkness, and it's okay. It's all for a purpose. Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. Exactly. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. So we all have lessons to learn from whatever's going on, and
Do your best to protect yourself
it's a great
while you
time,
can.
great time to be alive in this transformative time, and moving into the age of light and knowledge. So let's embrace it. Let's support each other. Let's inspire each other, and let's keep that light shining from your heart as bright as you possibly can, so you can, brighten up others' hearts. Because one little candle can light infinite amount of candles.
Yeah, we want to love and support each other. Everybody, vaccinated, unvaccinated, I don't care. We all must. It's important, at least, for us to come together and support each other, respect each other's opinions. Everybody has a will. God gave them will. Who am I to come and say this is better for you?
If
They
anybody's,
have a will to choose.
if anybody's regretted the jab, we're here to help. We know how to purge better than anybody else out there. So get it out of you if you've regretted it. Christina, when on MFS journey, I started to catch myself thinking that food is bad and what makes me sick. No, don't think that way. But I am listening to you guys and learning to see that fasting and eating are important. Oh, where'd it go?
Yeah, that food is also healing, least obstructive, of course. Yeah, I mean, food is, everything is obstructive, even the juice. But the less obstructions, the more the body is able to heal itself.
I don't dissociate food with healing anymore. Like I said, like we keep saying, is only the body can feed, hydrate, purge, build, balance, and heal itself through soul from source. It's not about the food. The foods that we use, the herbs, we use them for their information to help us purge, not for, and the body's doing all the work. It's not anything to do with the foods or the juice and all that. The body is doing the work through soul from source.
But it's about balance too, right? So, Christine, I remember a few weeks ago, I think you mentioned balance. You were mentioning a couple of times balance. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is about balance. This is not about extreme fasting. This is about balance.
Barbara, we're putting you to sleep. I want you to know I'm becoming stronger. Awesome.
Awesome. Amazing.
There you go. Keep focused. Stay focused.
Paula.
Black Oxygen Organics Canada works for me as an
ate to release stuff from my bowels.
Good dirt goes a long way. About 8.4 teaspoon of my grape juice and so much more than I eat. This coming December will be 2 years on MFS. Always learning the teaspoon, script on.
Yeah, some people are talking about black oxygen.
Yeah, it's been around for many years. Humic acid. Christina, let's make love instead of war. Absolutely. What's the opposite? War spelled backwards is raw.
All right.
Barbara, thank you. You're welcome.
Maybe we'll cut it short. What do you think?
Yeah, we're gonna cut it short. We got some family here. So if any last questions, or we'll see you next Wednesday on Facebook Live.
Thank you guys. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you for joining. It's always great and wonderful, and
great feedback.
I forgot to push record again, so I'll have to.
You figured that. By
It'll
now,
be, it'll be on Facebook,
by
but,
now you're an expert at forgetting to record and how to.
thank you. Love you guys. It's awesome.
Love you.
So, we'll see you
Love
soon.
you all.
Stay focused on the art of subtraction. When we eat, we love eating, but we love fasting way more. So enjoy your times when you're eating and just be prudent and don't go too crazy. Stay away from the obstructive foods as much as possible. That's all we can do.
When you live it and love it, you will know.
All right. Thank you. Ciao.